and practicing. I was like, I gotta get to the grocery store this morning, and then I'm like, wait a second, I'm almost out of gold. I bought a belt of blasting on my priest, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta get to the grocery store. Basically, I'm going by how many days left of onions that I have. I'm like, when I get to like 3 onions, I gotta get to the grocery store and get a couple more bags of onions because I eat about an onion a day. And I'm like, as soon as I saw there was a farm spot open, I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna happen right now. We gotta get that gold up a little bit, and then I have all day to do it. But I got a belt of blasting, so my Shadow Priest has already got the best in slot belt, which, you know. And I saw Spell Strike pants and Spell Strike hood were still a shitload of gold, so I'm not gonna stress on that right now. But so the thing about um, Aya Quag being good, right, is if you can get you to get like just a few extra arcane blast when you have your trinkets and all that shit up, then it might be worth it. You know what I mean? But I think at the end of the day, it does give you like if it procs like 3 times during a fight, it's probably enough to get you a few extra arcane blasts, and sometimes 1 or 2 arcane blasts is the difference between like first or third or fourth DPS. You know, so I don't know yet. We'll see though. It's got a 45-second internal cooldown, I think, which means that the most it can proc on a 1.5 minute fight is twice, and it's probably not going to proc exactly twice in 1.5 minutes. Rarely does it, but it does on some occasions. Why, thank you. Why, thank you. Eggs are expensive again, they say. I noticed that they were a little more expensive than normal. But there's still like a whole box of eggs is like $8. 60 eggs, right? So, still the cheapest food, pretty much. Like, if it weren't for, like, on all honesty, a recession, thank God for chicken and eggs. I wouldn't be able to eat beef or anything. Just nothing but chicken and eggs, you know. Talk about a sort of recession-proof food, right? Because like what I eat for breakfast is a bag of tuna and 6 eggs, right? And then throughout the day, like the only meat that I get for the most part is I eat 600 grams of chicken, 600 or 700 grams of chicken throughout the day, added to rice and beans. Well, actually, I cut back on the beans to lower the sodium, but canned beans have like so much fucking salt and preservatives. What's crazy though is I've been sleeping like so good, man. It's been totally different. I don't know if it's just because or and so far. Just a few minutes into this. Quit drinking coffee this week. And life is miserable. I think I'm on like day 6 or 7 of not having any, I'll say any, but minimal sodium. And they say it takes a while to flush out your kidneys and all that stuff. Derp. They tell you that the CIA spies on me? Did I mention that? Did I tell you that before? God damn it. If I had to guess, nobody's logged on because they're all at work currently. Whatever that looks like to a bunch of people that farm the goddamn plateau on World of Warcraft. Whatever that consists of. It's crazy how good they've got at banning people for buying WoW Gold. Is he using bots? Oh, this girl, man, I'm on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. I have a crush on her anyway. Every time I see her stuff, dude, I feel like I like her more and more. She's a total stranger, but of course I have a crush on her. I found out the other day she listens to MC Chris of all people. At least I think she does. The thing is, he did this song called Nerd Girl like 100 years ago, and recently it's gone viral where people like cut it to whatever clips or whatever, and yeah, So I don't know if she actually does or if she just is participating in the viral trend or whatever the thing is called. But I think she does. In my mind, she does. In a perfect world. I didn't mean to snag that. Yeah, he got resisted. Which I've seen some clips from his tour. Some, it's one of those things where like obviously some venues are gonna be better than others. As far as attendance and shit's concerned, he didn't really show the audience, but he was performing in a pizza shop on one of them. Like I don't know how many people can fit in a place like that, but he's probably played a dozen shows where quite literally like him and one other guy. So it all pays off in the end, man, because that guy is something special for sure. Like if only he like I guess he knows, right? Like how many people that guy's influenced. Like like my entire group of friends uh, when they figured out about MC Chris was like night and day difference. You know what I mean? Uh, so you know what I mean? I know he's gone through some shit here in the last couple of years or whatever, and was discouraged, I believe, by the last tour's numbers or whatever. But hopefully this one's better, and if not, eventually this shit, man, I know it'll work out for him. I just know it will. Because the guy's special to me, goddammit, and that means something, right? And like, I don't know why though. Like this type of shit, the guy is so fucking funny. If you ever see him do his music and stuff, you go see him in show. He does like stand up too while he after like in between songs. Not like stand up like oh what's the deal with airplane food or whatever, but he does like he's super just funny. He's the type of guy you just like to see talk for hours and hours if you could. And so going to his shows are like kind of like a stand up thing, kind of like a music thing, and when I used to go see him in tour and stuff when I was like 13 or 14 years old, uh, it was like all I fucking cared about for years and years at a time. And what an impact the guy had on me specifically, because at the time it was like I found this thing that all my friends ended up liking, which was rare. You know what I mean? Well, found out years later that no, they ended up liking a whole lot of the things that I ended up trying to find and discover and introduce them to, but they were hesitant at first, like sitting on your ass and playing video games all day, or cryptocurrency, right? Like, yeah, they were all hesitant about all that, but they came to my line of reasoning eventually. But MC Chris is one of those things. Like, I introduced his music to my friends, and like every one of them was instantly hooked on the shit. So it's a special thing for me, and I hate that a guy like that cannot get the appreciation he deserves more than anything, man. It bothers me. 'Cause I've seen him. I watched the guy fucking set my fucking calendar, my clock when he was on G4 TV or whatever when he performed on what was that show called? Tech TV's video game review or whatever, Attack of the Show or whatever. I like set my alarm to that, you know. I was there for all of it. Before he ever went on a tour, I was his biggest fan. I used to go to his message boards and talk to people and get laughed off the goddamn forums about it. Shit talked by a bunch of grown men. Trying to fucking, like, come on, guy. Where's your big, what's the fucking thing? Here, kid, you can have it. It's fucking Jersey. What's the thing? The old fucking Coca-Cola commercial? Mean Joe Green or whatever. Right. You don't have any used underwear or anything I can borrow? For something else? But he was supposed to do a TV show on Adult Swim and it never came to fruition. You see the quality of shit that they put out now. I'm like, I can almost guarantee you anything that guy tried to produce or create as far as comedy is concerned would fucking womp whatever the fuck is on Adult Swim. Because, yeah, the shit on Adult Swim is pretty terrible now, at least from what I can gather. And he, like, because like, the thing is everything the guy did on Adult Swim was everybody's favorite. I don't understand how was it like not a no-brainer idea to give the guy a TV show, and he never ended up having his own TV show, and there was plans to at some point in time, and I'm like, how the fuck do you drop the ball on everybody's favorite guy ever? And yeah, so I was like, eh. And then of course shows, and the thing is though, they did the same thing to the guys at Aqua Teen and everything else. You know, they like lack of appreciation for what those shows did for a lot of people, which sucks because I mean, if there was just a way, I know it's like so, but those things are like a calculated dad decision as to if they do or don't make money or whatever. I'm like, they cost like nothing to produce. If you look at how much they have to pay the people, like when I looked it up online, the entire Aqua Teen Hunger Force show, like all fucking 400 episodes of the shit, cost less than like $3 million to produce all of it, like over 16 seasons, a motion picture, and you know, like all of that. I added it all up one day. It might be more than that, but I remember being like surprised at how little it costs to do all this shit. I was like, I mean, relatively, you think like 16 years worth of entertainment, like 400 episodes of TV shows. They're like some music videos and car commercials cost more than that. Like just one car commercial, one TV, you know, like whatever. Merchandise. Just fucking goddamn it, dude. They sold more than that just in those Meatwad wristbands at Hot Topic or whatever. I guarantee it. But that's life sometimes. That's why they call them starving artists, right? But like everybody I know, anybody that I like, which is not as many people as it could be, love those fucking shows more than anything. It gave weirdos like me a place in the universe, you know. And he's the guy, though, you know, he really is. There's a few other guys too that are from that era and certain whatever, but that I really like. But he's certainly something different for sure. If he could just make more songs about Star Wars and sports cars, I think we right. Yeah, how the fuck did Corvette and Star Wars? I mean, come on now. It's like talk about a no-brainer, right? He's the only reason I like Star Wars, right? Me and Star Wars had a boy named Sue relationship for the longest time because my dad named me Luke, which makes growing up. You can guess everybody's my dad, right? Yeah. If only I knew who my real dad was. Oh, good, another person. Oh, another dad not giving me Christmas presents. Go fucking figure. Right. Everybody wants to be my dad. I get it. Everybody wants to call me their kid or whatever, or I am their father or whatever. I don't get a lot of Christmas presents these days, you know. I know it's like, Well, wait till wait. I know, right? Wait till this, whatever it is, any part of your life manages to be at least 1% successful. It'll be a change, I'm sure. I was close to it last time, man, but I had the right ideas and I had the right mentality. I had the wrong business associates. And in all honesty, 27 years old, there's a whole lot more that I could have stood to have learned before. But then again, at that point in time, you could ask anybody from 2007, 17 rather, uh, what would they do differently now versus then, like given the climate change and like, well, a lot of these technologies didn't even exist yet. So you can sit there and grade yourself based on how you performed when nobody knew what they were doing and compare it to how much you've learned since then and go like, well, yeah, I obviously would have done better knowing what I know now, but a lot of that information, a lot of that trial and error shit was not available to anybody at the time. So, but right now, I'm doing exactly what I wanted to do then. Only, and just the other day, I seen that these people in Brazil. One of the very few things, one of the very let's say few, but one of the first things I did was I wrote a white paper for a with a guy named James Bang. He's like an Indonesian guy, right? Parents are super rich, wealthy Indonesian diplomats, ambassadors, or something. I can't remember what it was exactly. But the project that I co-wrote the white paper for it was called Cash Cow Coin. Now it was his idea, but I wrote the white paper for it, and he consulted me to do it. Was to do um, like not like sharecrop, but like tokenized cattle trading, right? In Indonesia, and the ability to tokenize your cattle and stuff because they have like so much grazing land and only so few people can afford heads of cattle. So the goal is like you do an ICO for a cow for a village, and the villagers say, we've got X amount of square feet, yardage, footage, or acres, or however they calculate it, and we need someone to purchase us a cow, right? And you tokenize the cow as an asset, and then it provides us like a decentralized like kind of Airbnb service for cows to have grazing land or whatever cattle and whatever you call it, where they can graze, because there's like, well, to them, in the process of like acquiring enough money to purchase a cow, they view owning a cow like we say viewing like or owning a car, you know what I mean? So it's like a thing, you know what I mean? That's like it's a status symbol to have a cow in Indonesia, right? To have a head of cattle on your land or whatever. And like a bunch of these people have inherited land, gone through tough times, had to sell their cattle down to keep the land, and now they have all this land but no cattle. And this provided a network of people to tokenized heads of cattle to and find them appropriate land to graze on and stuff, so that they could be raised to be butchered or whatever, or trained to perform in a circus, or build a giant drill to bore, to build a giant drill to bore straight into hell. Actually, yeah, right. Yeah, that's actually one of them did. Yeah, it's strange. One of them built a giant drill to bore straight into hell. Right, but that was like 2017. So like, I'm not a buffoon. And I seen just the other day that some company in Brazil has done the exact same thing all these years later. I don't know. I'm not necessarily condoning or endorsing anything. I'm just, why do you guys say it like that? Yeah, I'm not endorsing it. Um, but good idea. I think it works on paper. It just has to be implemented correctly by the right people. I don't know for sure if those are or aren't. But yeah, and that one time, that one cow tried to build a giant drill and bore straight into hell. But that was the principle behind it. So like, I know that's not like revolutionary or anything, but interesting stuff for a guy that has just really started trying to like get his toes wet into the like more of the consulting and kind of like whatever you call it side of things, right? Dad stuff, right? Stuff you'd say, shouldn't this guy be wearing loafers? Let me see your loafers. You're not qualified. Those aren't loafers. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of here. Right. Anyway, but yeah, it's like things like I wish I could have done better. But the thing is like if the person you're doing this all with, right, is like they're destined to just try and gut the thing and milk every last penny out of it from day one, then like no matter how good the idea, it's not going to work because it wasn't designed to work, and that's essentially John's mentality was the entirety of everything was already owed to him, so he had no problem crashing and burning and destroying things and like fucking people over because it's all his anyway. where he's just letting other people use it for now, which he really did have that mentality. Pretty much everything the guy owned was in other people's names, and he would give things to people and like demand to have it returned to him like an Indian giver. And there was so much arguing and bickering about like, which I never let him put my name in any of his stuff. So I was just like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with any of it. But he always had these groups of people that would be like, he was like, had all this stuff, promised it to him, told them to put it in their name, and he just wanted to borrow it for the time being, right? And then push came to shove. He's like, that's all my stuff, right? I'm like, well, I had nothing to do with it, but the people that did, like, what do you expect somebody to do? Like, renege on your promise to them? And so he ended up having to, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of luxury vehicles, homes, and all this other stuff. He'd put in other people's names, and then whatever the agreement was amongst them, I don't really know, honestly. But it was one of those things where he made promises to people, and then like he would get into a tight spot, and suddenly, all the promises that he'd made were like, it didn't matter, right? And everybody was just borrowing his things until it was his time and all that shit. Type of person you couldn't necessarily deal with, especially for a person trying to wheel and deal, and quite literally burning the candle at both ends, to say the least, right? You're like, so you're the type of guy that's always going to find himself in a predicament, and he's going to expect everybody to always bail him out. You know what I mean? Is what it was. He was always expecting somebody to bail him out of everything, from murdering his neighbor at some point in time to all the ignorant shit that he did to me. He was always expecting someone to just, like, he fucking finally found out, though. He sure did. Yeah, so as much as I wish I could have done better, it's like maybe it was meant to, maybe I was supposed to learn that lesson, that's all. 'Cause I'm sure there's a bunch of guys like him out there somewhere. Try to stay away from them, but if they're everywhere, man, you're gonna have to deal with them, unfortunately. So it's best to know how to versus just not understanding or whatever. Yeah, and then that one cow did build that giant drill to try and bore straight into hell with it. We got extra tokens for him. Right? Yeah, but it's cool to see it, at least something done with it, right? Like, I'm not sitting there going, oh, well, that person stole my idea or anything. I'm like, well, it wasn't really my idea to begin with. But that being said, I'm glad to see it. Someone's doing something with it. I just hope it's something good, not like another shyster doing something. But if it's taken all these years, I don't know if it's the same people or not. But interesting concept. And apparently, like the grazing land part of it, and like they would know how to butcher the cattle or whatever, and get it to market if they need to, or ship it to somewhere that does when the time's right. And the kind of like, I don't know if there's like a traditional agricultural term for this type of practice, but I said, well, I'm uniquely qualified to do this because I used to cut up dead cows and sell them to people like 5 weeks ago. It turns out, hey, you know what? I actually was uniquely qualified. So my old Google Drive somewhere, there's like some white paper that looks like some retarded kid wrote it. No, that's not true. That's actually pretty good. The rough draft was rough, but it ended up getting pretty good. I wish I had the old shit, man. Somewhere. The thing is, when the cops broke into my home and stole my computers and destroyed my life's work the last time, which has happened more than once. This has happened 2 times now. They stole all my phones that had all my strong passwords and shit, and then one of John's stupid bitch employees stole my filing cabinet and then had her stepfather blow her brains out with all my shit in her possession, and then all of my wallets and all my like recovery keys and all that shit turned up missing, and I don't know where they are, and I'm like tempted to go get her corpse exhumed or for the FBI to investigate to see, like, did this bitch steal my money and my fucking wallets and my keys and everything and run off somewhere? Because it's very strange that she just died the next day, you know what I mean? And then if she did fucking steal my shit, then I'm good. I'm glad she got her head blown off by her stepfather or whatever the fuck it was. She deserved it. I know it's kind of harsh, but like, you fucking understand what a complicating act it is to break into somebody's home without their permission or coerce some sort of what appears to be consent to enter and then lie about your pretense for being there or pretext or whatever and then fucking help yourself to my fucking filing cabinet. Yeah, I'm glad you got your head blown off. It's what you deserve. Don't do that. But whatever. It is. Sit there telling me I can't sit there, I can't own a firearm and defend myself against these idiots. Well, I'm glad somebody did. You know what I mean? But that did happen. Sure as shit did. Yeah, but it's like, what a fucking mess it is, you know? But when the cops showed up and stole all my stuff and destroyed it, because John paid them to do it, part of my, like, recovery passwords and all that stuff, and then the person that swooped in after the fact to steal my filing cabinet, all his employees, my recovery keys to my initial Google account that I've used forever is unrecoverable. So all my old work, all my white papers that I wrote, all my emails, everything is fucking locked in some sort of like purgatory. Sit there and try and tell them that. It's like, there's not a phone number to call, you know what I mean? Unless I just show up to the headquarters crying one day. You guys, you won't give me my account back. Right. I should do it, really. I'll put on mascara before, too, and everything. So I fucking run down my face like J.D. Vance. Or, what's his name? Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth's yearbook picture. If that's really him, dude, whatever. I think some of us went through that phase. I know I didn't, but I'm glad you're away from it, though. Glad you've made it through. Yeah, show up to Google headquarters crying. I might actually have to eventually. Well, I want to farm as many of these as humanly possible. Yeah, but when you think about how much all that shit costs, like, what a tragedy that there's not a way to. I don't like because the shit. I don't understand how it doesn't make money. You know what I mean? I really don't. Or does it make money? It's just like, well, you have to think about what was the guy's name? Not Ted Danson, whatever the guy that owned whatever it was called, right? Who died recently? Ted Turner. Like they do make fun of him in the movie Basketball. I'm sure he's a real piece of work or whatever. He's probably a hard guy to deal with, more than likely. A narcissistic 80-year-old Texas oil billionaire. Yeah, I'm sure he's probably hard to deal with. Wears a 10-gallon hat everywhere. Yeah, I'm sure he's a joy to be around. But that being said, whatever. Really. But I'm hanging tight for now, praying things get better for everyone, you know. And I feel like things are getting better. I think they're improving. My farts don't smell as weird, so it means I'm less stressed. I can tell by the smell of your farts. Yeah, right. I can tell you're nervous by the smell of your farts. Yeah, right. Crazy. I figured out that goddamn doesn't interfere with the thing is though is do you want the option to override your mind flay with a mind blast or whatever, or do you always want to figure because if so, like all my macros should have that if channeling not channeling whatever the fucking thing was, if spell casting shadow where, that way I can not have one macro to do all the DPS or whatever, but I need to figure out like what people use. There's not just like a Shadow Priest add-on I can download instead of having to get a doctorate and fucking whatever the thing's called, weak ores or whatever. What's like the most commonly used mage weak ores too for? Yeah, I wish I knew. Trinkets, frostbites, and stuff. I used to just have like an add-on that used to just do all the shit for me instead of having to have like. So I got a belt of blasting on my priest. Which cost me about 600 gold, but the thing is, the thing's such a good belt. It's a best in slot belt. It's even better best in slot than the helm or than the spell strike stuff. What's crazy is all the spell strike shit costs the same as it did months ago. I had the pattern for the legs, or the helmet, or whatever it was. I think it was the legs. I got the. No, I had the pattern for the helmet. That's right. I sure hope that's not the same kid cutting the grass again today. That was like 2 days ago. Oh, oh. Shit. Hey, a green of the bandit. I probably disenchanted a whole bunch of shit worth more than what I disenchanted it for, more than likely. And as fire, I've never been arcane, or I've never been fire, what they call an elemental, PvE fire spec, where you get icy veins and all that. So I'll be interested to see by the time we get to Sunwell and all that, what my DPS can be like with all that stuff. I don't think I had a Skull of Gul'dan on my character. I didn't have the haste staff off of Illidan. So for Sunwell, hopefully. Then again, so far my luck has been, say, non-existent so far. Although the Sextant is good. Yeah, the thing about prediction markets is I don't know, man. For certain people, I guess, I can't imagine why. It's interesting, but God damn it. Yeah, dude, I can farm all day here. It's just impossible for me to ever find a spot. Sounds awfully close to my house, dude. The kid was here 3 days ago cutting the grass. I sure hope he's not here again. I really do. I guess everything's destined to get more expensive after the expansion, or whatever the fucking next phase is, or whatever. If so, I'm holding on to all my primal fires. I might need to sell some before then, but you think you get more gold for them, but I need to potentially buy a couple pieces of gear for my Shadow Priest. does it take to fucking make a table? I'm not paying them to cut the grass 2 times in 3 days. I promise you that. Tell you that much. God damn it. God damn it. Well, there went that. I do need to cook breakfast anyway, so I'll be back in just a few minutes. Hello, hello, hello. I had to eat real quick. Our guy here seems to be tanking cars on in the middle of our in the middle of our thing here. There he is. I don't know what my gear score is, but got the enchant to my weapon, and what was that from? Weird. Teehee. Come on now. I can't imagine this wasn't difficult necessarily the other day, so looks like we got 4 people. I got the new prayers and all that stuff. There he is, right? Good. It'd be helpful if I could see my fucking screen, though. It's so bright. Yeah, I'm sure this makes for a pleasant viewer experience, whatever. It appears that'd be as more help to shadow here, really. It'd be more help shadow, however you say it. I can only see like a third of my fucking screen right now. Shit is. I hope you guys are all at full health. I think it looks good, sort of, kind of. I think I can kind of see what's going on, but not entirely. Yeah, the car was good, man. I got that gavel and all that stuff. That's like, well, the thing is like a weapon for any class for the most part. Potentially trinkets, mostly weapons though is the biggest stat addition you can get. So getting the best in slot for a while, healing mace or whatever for priest is like encouragement to try and at least get a good holy set or shadow set to raid or PvP with. And I think in PvP even I'd probably want a gavel if possible. But after this, I gotta go for a walk, and I gotta go to the grocery store, and I gotta get some onions, and I gotta get some more chicken. Give me just a second to get full mana. My health is still so low, 7,000 health is shitty. Yikes. I don't know at what point in time am I supposed to start doing heroics, but I guess with a decent enough tank it shouldn't matter, but right. Anyway. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Oh, that's a. I need that for my healing set. Lamp of Peaceful Radiance. Oh, I already have that. Lamp of Peaceful. Oh, they're two different things. Repose and Radiance. They have very similar names. That is an upgrade. That's my contribution to WoW. I'm gonna make an add-on that anytime someone does a countdown timer, it plays the final countdown. $35 versus 21. Yeah, that's much better for healing. We have like a decent healing set now. I'd say it's got to be good enough to do heroics. I wouldn't like try to speed run through this shit or whatever, but I mean a gavel is like that thing's like 3 times better than my other fucking mace or my other. It's better than my spell damage dagger. I now have like 1200 healing, which is actually not terrible, I think. Pretty sure. Oh, yeah, I guess you still have to do all the attunement quest chains to get the items and stuff, like the Hydral ring and the Karzon ring and all that, but other than that, you can farm the thing till exalted and then get the ring after the quest is done. I don't understand people's obsession with those noggin foggers. Like, you can't get the people to pop flasks at raid time, but they have a fucking 100 fucking noggin foggers ready to rumble, right? Oh, fuck. I need to be out of sheep to keep people alive. Is it my fault they pad around? I can hardly see my screen right now, but I did not necessarily see that that was there. Whatever those were. Where were they, Pat? I don't know if they were or weren't. Regardless, I can't see the shit, that's all. Regardless. So this is a group we probably could have done heroic with. Possibly. The tank might have gotten hit. Oh, he's got all gladiator. And apparently that... news to me that fucking gladiator apparently is the best tanking gear you can get. PvP gear because of all the resilience. That's not true, but... I always read the stat when I looked it up online because it doesn't say on the gear. It says reduces the chance of being crit by another player, not a boss, right? But I guess they might have worded it that way even though that wasn't exactly what it meant or something. God. Shit. Oh man, that was scary. Like if I had a weak auras, like they don't just have like a thing I can download priest version of weak auras that shows me all the shit that I want instead of having to have like overlapping shit from my mage and like log on to my mage and it's gonna show priest shit that it's, come on now. Good. Well, it's not heroic, but can we fast forward? Mormon swear jar. You put a quarter in the Mormon swear jar, Jerry. Oblivion Hood. Grant your pets. I don't fucking need that. Anyway. Can't see what's going on. Not one death. That would have